Welcome to the Sarah Finkelstein Show. Do you happen to know why is it that women love life insurance? Well, there are many reasons. But first, let me share some statistics with you. Did you know that life insurance has been around since 1759? That's a long time ago. And certainly during that time span, life insurance has changed quite a lot. Lots of benefits have been added to life insurance policies. Another statistic I want to share with you is that 80% of men die married and 80% of women die single. What does that mean? That means that normally women end up alone at some point in their life. And that's whether through becoming a widow or through a divorce. But a lot of women do end up alone in their latter years. Do you know what the average age of widowhood is? 57. Now, you know what happens with averages, right? Some of them are above the average number, some of them are below the average number. And I know personally women that became widows, both below the average and above the average. But importantly, 70% of women are the beneficiaries on those life insurance policies. Normally, women marry older men. And because of that, the likelihood that they end up alone is greater. Did you know that women outlive men for the most part? My own grandmother is 99 and she's been a widow for over 10 years. Her husband died at the age of 90. So women can find themselves living alone for many years. So women can inherit the proceeds of a life insurance policy either as a spouse or not necessarily in a marriage relationship. It could be a significant other romantic relation for many, many years. I know of some of those. You probably do too. But let me share with you some personal experiences that I know of people in my circle. A dear friend of mine had been married for about, I think, 15 years at the time, and her husband died suddenly because of an accident. At the time, she had a teenage daughter. Thank God for those life insurance proceeds that her husband left to her, made her daughter's college education possible. Unexpected things happen to us in life that we don't anticipate. And because her husband did the proper planning, she didn't have to worry about her daughter being able to go to college. Somebody else that I know was raising a young family, and her husband died in his sleep. It turns out that he had some kind of a tumor. Can you imagine waking up the next day and your loved one is no longer there? It's sad, it's grief. But when we do the planning, at least the financial aspect can be dealt with. None of us can predict how long we will live, although we know that people are living longer than ever before. For example, Grandma, who's currently 99. I remember as a child living in Pennsylvania, very close to my cousin, who was 5 years younger than I at the time. His dad died in his sleep at the age of 40 something. Tragic things do happen to people. We all know of such stories. But life insurance can provide the financial peace of mind. So maybe you have life insurance through work called group life insurance, which happens to be the cheapest form of life insurance. But what happens when you or your spouse leave that job? That policy ends there. It does not follow you. Once you leave your position, that life insurance is gone, which is why we should all have our individual life insurance policies. One thing that people are not planning for is the very likely need for long-term care down the road. Did you know that a cash value life insurance policy has what is called living benefits? What that means is that you do not have to pass away for someone to benefit from your life insurance policy. If it has living benefits, you, the insured, gets to benefit from that policy while you're alive. A lot of these cash value policies have provisions to pay for the probable need down the road for long-term care. It's basically accelerating the death benefits to pay for that need during one's lifetime. So who takes care of the single women in retirement that have not planned for long-term care? Well, if you're a single woman and you have children, maybe they can pitch in to take care of you. Or you can have life insurance that also does that for you. Did you know that most Americans are underinsured for life insurance, meaning that they don't have enough coverage for their needs to provide for their children in the event of an untimely death, to make sure that the children and the spouse can remain in their home that they've been accustomed to make sure that the children can go to college when they reach college years. Life insurance has a lot of benefits, and it is the foundation of any financial plan. I've never met a woman who received a death benefit who said, "Oh my God, that check is too much." No, on the contrary, they will say, "Gosh, I only wish my husband had bought more coverage because we could use some." But of course, some coverage is better than no coverage. Today, we have a lot of options when it comes to life insurance policies. There's term insurance, which happens to be the cheapest in the short term, but happens to be also the most expensive in the long term. We also have cash value life insurance policies, different types of them. So make sure that your family is well protected. Make sure that your loved ones are well protected. One other story that I want to share with you is of a let's call her a single gal who was in a romantic relationship for over 20 years, very happy in her relationship. Her boyfriend provided for her, took care of her, took her on trips, showed her a nice life. And then, unfortunately, he passed away suddenly. All of his assets went to his children. She was left penniless. Had he had the foresight to get a life insurance policy and make her his beneficiary, she would have found herself in a different spot after losing her loved one. Remember, it all goes back to planning. People don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. So if you've been thinking about the fact that you need to get life insurance or you need to increase what you have, give us a shout or reach out to your agent. And what people normally do is very, very usual, that they will get a policy. Maybe you have a policy. Maybe you bought it 10 years ago or longer. Have you looked at it lately? Do you even know what you have, what it provides? Is it just pure term insurance? Or does it have living benefits? Living benefits are great to have because we just don't know what tomorrow brings. You can find the Sarah Finkelstein Show on iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can even Google the Sarah Finkelstein Show or find the segments on our website, www.signatureadvisorygroup.com. Join us again.